calling an election short. Now, you know, but here we got to make sure you guys got some education. And so you know I got to make it look official, so you can, at least you can follow and make it be a little interactive, and maybe you can open your brain to one or two things that
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay.
Good to see you. A long time no see. Absolutely. Long time no roll together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do 16, so I do you the date now.
I hope you bring your Bible, because we probably have some, we can have people see some scriptures. Okay. You didn't get one? Okay.
Thank you. You have one?
Yeah, I get it.
God is good.
We're going to be referring to the chat, but let me just say that the topic is starting off with this big time topic. Clark, you get a Bible?
Yeah.
Because I may refer, I go Paul here one, you know, just Sister Patrice.
Which book we read for Theo? Which one the book we going in? Old Testament and New one?
We get in Old and New.
Oh, okay. When you call it,
So
just put it up.
okay. The topic that was assigned to me is the Sabbath day still blessed today? As a big boy.
Yes.
I don't know why they let me as big boy.
You would have did it.
Is the Sabbath day still blessed today? Listen, I could answer that, and we could go home in 1 minute, and boom, we could Kentucky Fried Chicken weekend. And that'll be over. So, you can say a quick prayer. Most gracious and Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day. We ask you, Lord, that the words of my mouth, meditation of my heart be acceptable. We ask you, Lord, that the words that I will receive from the Holy Scriptures that I will impart to those who hear may be fruitful, and may as we continue, God, to study and search the Scriptures and be pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. Is the Sabbath day still blessed today? Now, watch this. For several reasons. And I call it the 3W. Yes, the Sabbath day is still blessed today. Now, the first W, I would say, the who, because of who made the Sabbath. Who made the Sabbath? And we know who made the Sabbath. God Himself. Watch this now. In Genesis 2, we get into Genesis 2. We get back to the beginning. We got to go back to the beginning. Thus the heavens and the earth, verse 1, were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day, God ended His work which He had made, and He rested on the seventh day from all His work which He had made. And God blessed, and that's the first reason why the Sabbath is blessed. Because God blessed the Sabbath. Who God blessed, or what God blessed, no man could curse. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because, and this is the reason why, this is the why now. We did with who? Now we dealing with the why. The why is because the scriptures say that in it He rested from all His work which God created and made. Then the when is when He had completed His work, He rested. So the Sabbath day, the question is, the Sabbath day is blessed because God blessed it. The God, the Almighty, sovereign God, the creator of heaven and earth, He rested, He blessed it, and He sanctified it. And so, if anyone asks you the question, is the Sabbath day still blessed? Of course. Yes. Because God blessed it. This ain't got nothing to do with the laws that he gave Moses on Mount Sinai. This was way before that. God created and he rested on the seventh day. And because he did all that work, he blessed it. And he sanctified it. So, you see why I say that I could sit down after this question? You all see that, right? Because I didn't answer the question.
Right there.
So, I mean, let's go home. I mean, I finished with it. I said, I didn't answer the question. That's like to finish. That's the question and answer.
But that's what your question was.
They asked me if, listen to this. They asked me the question. Watch this.
Is the Sabbath day still blessed?
Yes, and I answered it. And I answered. So my lesson finished. Okay.
We could go on.
Listen, I know. Listen to me.
Now.
Listen to me. I know what you all really want to hear.
Yeah. You know what we want to hear.
I know. The question is for us to consider: is the Sabbath day still binding on Christians today? That's where the meat of the matter comes in. Now, that's why I give you all these charts. You can tackle this. And the approach I can take is going to be a different approach. Okay. First, we got to understand one principle. And then, boom, the lesson. Oh, brother, if you get this, you all get an 8. And that's what? You all pass the test. Flying colors. Alright? The first thing you can understand is that there's 3 different dispensations. 3 different dispensations. You all see B? Be coming back to A, but let's look at B. Right? You see, first is the patriarchal dispensation. Right?
Take a look at this again. I'll take a look at it.
Number 2, you see the mosaic, and you see the arch, right? You see the mosaic, right? And then the last dispensation is the Christian dispensation. Now, to explain that was complicated. Let's look at that, right? So to explain that, we can go to B, C. Turn over to C. Okay. First of all, let's explain dispensation. And let's go to D. And then we're coming back to C. To the end of D, you can see something say explanation of the chart. So,
Are you going to D?
the D, the last one. D, that's with the green D on it, right? And to the bottom of that, you can say explanation of the chart. That's the chart on B. Now watch this. The 3 large arches, you see the 3 large arches? They say across the top are 3 great dispensations in God's program between creation and Christ's second coming. Now, they're going to explain the dispensation. A dispensation is a period of time when God administers his kingdom in a particular way. In each dispensation, God dispenses his laws in some particular manner. Okay, so let's look at the first dispensation is the patriarchal dispensation, right? And if you look at that, you'll see different periods in that, right? The first one is a 1, ADP, 2, PBP, 3, PAIJ, and 4, PBE, right? Now, if you look at the chart on C, you'll see they explain these terms, right? So ADP is the antediluvian period, or the period before the flood. That's with Adam and Eve, anything before Noah. That's the ADP, right? Then the PDP, that sounds like a body ache. Post-diluvian period, or period after the flood. That's when people went back into sin after the flood and tried to rebuild the Tower of Babel. And so they explain all of these stuff, right? And so, under each dispensation, they show you the different periods before the flood, Tower of Babel and all these stuff, right? Now watch this. Now, remember, I'm going to throw a little tidbit right here. In the patriarchal age is when God speaks directly to the fathers. The prophets, he spoke to the fathers and they would tell the people what God said, like Abraham. Because of Abraham, God said, I'm going to bless you. And then you know from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But before that, before Abraham, he had the fathers. So that now, you see that say the patriarchal age. So if you look at the first age, you'll see the patriarch. All of those fathers. You see that? So that's why I put that in number one. Now let's go to the patriarchal age. This is the first age. This is from Adam time. The first man created. So you see creation, and you see 100, 0 to 100 years, right? And then you see Adam. It's the first man, right? 930 to 1 to 930. That's for Adam lived up 930 years, right?
Yeah.
Then you see Seth, one of Adam's sons, right? Then you see Enoch. Then you see Canaan. Then you see Mahalalel. Then you see Jared. And then on the opposite side, you see Enoch. Then you see Lamech. So straight down to Jacob. Remember, God promised Abraham that his descendants would be like the stars of the sky and the sand on the sea. And so this was the patriarchal period, right? Now, remember what I said, dispensation is. In this period, God talked directly to the fathers. Let's look at Hebrews 1. It will tell us that. Anybody get it? So we get it. Hebrews 1 and 1. Don't be afraid. You don't want to bite me. We be all his brothers and sisters. So don't be afraid. Be here too. It says, God who at sundry times, you got it, Paul? Read it.
God who at various times and in various ways spoke in time past to the fathers. By
Who he spoke to?
The
fathers. By prophets.
Yeah,
Right? So under the patriarchal, you got Brother Kent here. You get patriarchal. I guess so. So in time past, God spoke to the fathers. Right? This is how, through the prophets. So this is how God used to speak to people to get his message across on what to do, what not to do under that dispensation. Okay? Now, then we come to the Mosaic dispensation. Right? We see, now we know the Mosaic is from Moses. That's why they say Mosaic. Right? And we know on the Mosaic dispensation, that's where you have God giving Moses the 10 Commandments and all this other ordinances, over 600 other ordinances. And this way you get that fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Now, I know we get a lot of intellectuals, Bible scholars in here. Can anyone tell me why, I know Ken knows, but can anybody tell me why God give the children of Israel, specifically toward that generation, that fourth commandment?
For their rest after marching through the desert for 40 years. What he said he would rest.
Yes, he gave them it for their rest, but why did he give them it? It was a day of rest, but why did he give them it?
You think he wanted them to remember that day? That's a special day in their life?
You get peace there.
Not that it was a special day of God, like that was the day that God made him to rest on. And he feel after bringing the children, after they came from Egypt, and they went through the desert for 40 years, shoes never there, nothing never happened. God decided, you know what, I give you some rest now.
I can tell you right now.
This day, you keep this day, I have kept it holy.
I can get
There's
that.
no labor in it.
I can show you.
They, something, but they go on stuff, they wasn't supposed to spend all that and all that time, They're grumbling and complaining really go on stuff, they break it. They go on themselves, they'll not be that much time, 40 years. It wasn't supposed to be that long. 11,
Deuteronomy, turn to Deuteronomy 5. God is going to tell you why he gave them the day. Now, yes, he gave them as a day of rest, and it's actually be the same day that he rested. And so that's why some people, that's why the Seventh-day Adventists will try to tell you that we still have to keep the Sabbath day because they're trying to connect that back to. And now, what a good point. What I tell them, I say, before Mount Sinai, before he gave to Moses, none of the patriarch under the patriarchal dispensation, none of them were commanded to keep that. So my point to the 7 days Adventists is, well, if that was so important, like you said, keep, why did none of Abraham and Jacob and Adam all them kept it? This was given specifically the children of Israel on Mount Sinai, and this was to be a perpetual covenant to their generation. Now, read Deuteronomy 5, 1 through 5. It will tell you the reason why God gave it from the scriptures, as it is written. Read it for from Genesis, Deuteronomy 5, 1 through 5.
The Lord is going to say to them, yeah, always the statutes and judgment which I speak in your hearing today, that you may learn them and to be careful to observe them. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. The Lord did not make this covenant with our fathers,
You see that?
but with us.
Hold on, stop right there. He said, the Lord made this covenant with us at Horeb, that's at Mount Sinai. He said he didn't make this with the fathers, and I show you with the fathers. So in other words, this was not made with before them, with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, from Adam straight up to that generation. But this was made with the children of Israel at Horeb. Continue to read. The voice too.
Okay.
You could go to Way Street now.
The Lord did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with us, those who are here today, all of us who are alive. The Lord talked with you face to face on the mountain, from the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time to declare to you the word of the Lord. For you were afraid because of the fire, and you did not go up the mountain, he said. That's why you only go. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Okay.
You shall have no
Right
other
there.
gods.
Okay, so one of the reason he gave them that, so they could, like you say, remember him, that they were bonded, they were slaves in Egypt under the Egyptian captivity, and that he brought them out with an outstretched hand from that slavery or captivity. And so this day was actually given to the children of Israel to remind them, just like it's almost symbolic of the Lord's Supper for us as in the Christian dispensation, where we have to remember Christ's death. Every time we take that, the 11 bread for the wine. So this Sabbath day was almost as like that, a remembrance to remember God. Actually, that's what the focus is supposed to be on. Not actually the day itself, but God. That remember that God brought them out. Sometimes the Seventh-day Adventists, they focus too much on the day and don't focus on why God. But even that, they're in the wrong dispensation. So we're going to move on. So you can be able to see where. Huh? They're in the wrong dispensation. They still living in the Mosaic dispensation. Being the Christian today. You read that right there in Deuteronomy, he said this wasn't even for your fathers. This wasn't before you. This for us, all who are alive today through this generation.
Hey, and it wasn't for no other generation, but that generation of people. It was not for no other nation outside of Israel at that time.
So we get the Mosaic dispensation, right? We got the patriarch, which is the first one. And now we are in the last dispensation, which we call the Christian age, right? Now, I know we all ought to know this as Christians. When did the Mosaic dispensation stop and the Christian dispensation start? We know when the Mosaic started at Mount Sinai, because the book said that, right? Now, when did the Christian age begin? I know all of us. I know Ken knows that. I know Paul knows, right? We want to get some little interaction here. Kelly Clark. You want to tackle that? I know Lily should know that. Lily should know that. You should know Lily.
What's the question?
When did the Mosaic dispensation ended and when did the Christian dispensation start?
I'm not sure.
Huh?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Tell me what in your mind sounded you might know something. You say you ain't sure, but something there. Take a crack at it. Patricia, Vanessa?
I thought some people said,
Oh, no.
Christian is begun after and begun when the church is formed, right?
When the church was formed. Could you be more specific? You're warming up though. You're warming up. Because now I can ask you, when was the church formed? No, don't proceed. You know, it's like the resurrection. You say, we who are alive should not receive those. Right? Take the crack. You say, when the church was formed. That's a good answer. You got some thoughts on there. No, don't talk to us. I hear you saying something.
You think when he was crucified?
Yes.
Then he didn't have to shed no animal's blood no more for no sacrifice. He shed it on Calvary.
At the point
Yeah.
that Christ died, the veil was torn in two.
Yeah.
And Brother Ken, the philosopher could have corrected me if I'm wrong. That's signifying
Mosaic and
the end of the old and the beginning of the new.
Right.
Now, so we got three dispensations here, right? We get the patriarchal age, God spoke to the fathers through prophets, Mosaic, where he give their laws to Moses, and he gave it to the people. The Ten Commandments, and there was some 600 plus ordinances as well. And then, of course, the Christian age. When God said, listen, when Peter said, man, the chief, we got to build 3 tabernacles. Huh? The transfiguration. Just build one for Moses, one for Elijah, and one for your son. The boy's coming and rebuke him, say, man, look here. That's my son. He died for you. Listen to him. So we are to listen to Christ. Moses served his time and purpose. Before Moses, that God dealt with the prophets and the fathers and all that. But now, Christ died for us. He is the man in charge. He died, purchased the church with his blood. And so we under that system, that dispensation. And so now, not because we under the Christian age means that we cannot learn from things in the past. In fact, some things might even still be applicable today. Because you know when Eve sinned and Adam sinned, right? God had to do some consequences. And he said, look here, Eve and childbearing. He said, man, you're wicked. He even cursed the snake. You're walking up right now. You can be crawling on your belly with the thing. So that still have consequences today, Ken. But that some of those things still have today. So remember those three. See, because if you remember these 3 dispensations, and that's why people say the Bible is contradictory. It's not. Because you have 3 different dispensations. Under the old covenant, certain food you couldn't eat. Now we under grace and truth. Man, look at it. Some pork, you pray for that, boom, like that. I get that.
Some people still
You see?
believe it though.
Now, but it might be unhealthy in a sense, if you overdo it. But I see some people, man, they eat unhealthy all their life and they live long. And then some people eat healthy and they still die. But I mean, to each his own. But what I'm saying is you can't make a doctrine out of it. You see what I'm saying? If a man will eat pork, that's up to him. Don't say, man, again, God, he will be more holy than me or more spiritual because you eat pork and I don't eat pork. That's your choice. Now, under the old covenant, you'll see where certain food was forbidden. That's why when Peter saw that vision, when Peter was a Jew under that old system, boom, another question.
Who was this? Who was it for?
Who was what for?
Those laws.
What laws?
With the eating food men. Who was it for? It was for Israel. It wasn't for the other nations because they was eating what they wanted all the time.
Yes, but I'm saying, remember my point was that was under the old system. You see what I'm saying? That was under the old system. Now, under this dispensation, we have liberty in Christ. Now, what I want you to do is, I already showed you 3 dispensations. So, one of the thing in studying the Bible is sometimes when it speaks, we got to understand who's it speaking to, and if what is said is applicable to you. And the reason one of the ways to know that is to know what dispensation. So when you hear they talk about the law, right? They talking about the Mosaic law. But sometimes they just say the law. Sometimes they say the law of God. Sometimes they say the law of Moses. Or sometimes they just say the law. But they're talking about, all referring to the same thing. The Mosaic law under that system. So what we want to do here, we want to look at some of the differences in the different dispensation, and we want to see how the scripture says that we are now under this new dispensation. So we want to go to some of those scriptures to confirm, because you know the Bible says you can prove all things. Right? So let's look at Galatians 3:24. Galatians 3:24. Someone get that? Galatians 3. It tells us that the law was a schoolmaster to bring us to Christ.
You read it?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Therefore, the law was our tutor to bring us to Christ, that we might be justified by faith. But after faith has come, we are no longer under law. So after faith, we are no longer under the law.
Okay, so you see that the law what they was referring to. The law what they are referring to is the Mosaic law. That was only a tutor to bring us to Christ. In other words, that just was a shadow of things to come. Now, when Christ come, right, he said that we don't need that tutor no more. Because we got the real deal now. The problem is some people still want to live according to the law. Right? And the 10 Commandments was wrapped up in that law. That was the 4th commandment of one of the 10 Commandments. But like I said, there was other ordinances. So let's look at another scripture. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8 through 13. Watch this. For finding fault with them, he said, behold, the days are coming, said the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the hosts of Israel and with the hosts of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continue not in my covenant, and I regard them not, said the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the hosts of Israel. After those days, said the Lord, I will put their laws in their mind, and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. Anyone care to tackle that? What he's saying, and the Hebrew writer, I think, got that from Jeremiah. That same scripture from Jeremiah. You see the same scripture in Jeremiah 31 and 31. I can read that Jeremiah 31 and 31. Now listen to this. What Jeremiah said. You just read what he said in Hebrew, right? Now listen what Jeremiah said. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord.
Jeremiah what?
31 and 31. That I will make a new covenant with the host of Israel and with the host of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with them, with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand and to bring them out of the land of Egypt. So he's talking about the children of Israel there, right? Which my covenant they break, although I was their husband unto them, said the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the host of Israel. After those days, said the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write them in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no one, every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they all will know the Lord. They all will know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, said the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity, and will remember their sins no more. I can let the theologians talk about it. That's a big one.
Yeah, I want to say, Theo, that I've been doing a series of lessons on this in the book of Galatians.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that's so fascinating is that in reality, everything stems from the Abrahamic covenant. Because the Abrahamic covenant was the original covenant.
You're talking about Genesis 3.
In Genesis, yeah. In your seed,
Yes.
singular,
Yes.
you are blessed all nations.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible says that Abraham believed God and it was credited to him as righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the original covenant.
Yes.
And all of us today, believe it or not, we are sons of that covenant
Yes.
in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
But the law, as it says in Galatians, the law was added like a schoolmaster
Mm-hmm.
to bring us to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And when Hebrews and Jeremiah says that finding fault with the people, the law was good.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, the people broke it. They couldn't keep it.
They couldn't keep it.
The 600 plus laws,
Yeah.
Peter said that it was a yoke that neither us or our fathers could bear.
Mm-hmm.
And so they broke it, and God said, the time is coming, I'm going to establish a new covenant.
Mm-hmm.
Really, in reality, it was a continuation of that original covenant with
Yes.
Abraham.
Yes.
And we are all sons of faith now.
Yes.
Romans and Galatians talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
But this new covenant is given by the Spirit.
Yes.
Paul asked the Galatian saints, he said, did you receive the Spirit by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really a rhetorical question. The answer is that you received it by the hearing of faith. So when we receive the Spirit is like the writing of God's laws in our heart. It enables us to participate in this covenant such that we don't have to teach any man to never say know the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a requirement for entry in this covenant. You have to know the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
right? By means of His Spirit. I just think that it's so fascinating that we are all sons of Abraham, the Bible says. Sons of Abraham, the original father of the faithful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have a little twist with that too, Ken. And in that, I think what Jeremiah the prophet is saying also as well is that if you, and he's making a comparison in that old covenant under Israel, where basically you was just born into that.
Sure.
You know, you didn't have to go to no teaching or anything like that. You just, once you was a father of a nation, you was just, yes, you was just born into that. You know? But he's saying now, it's the time is coming when I make a new covenant. He put the law in your heart. So you don't want to have to say, know the Lord, because they all would know the Lord. Remember, they all would be taught, and they would know the Lord. You know, faith come by hearing and hearing the word of God. And so this is what he's saying. This time is going to come. And like you say, like you rightly say, the Spirit. You know, you obviously, Christ, you got to be born of the water and the Spirit. So obviously, you know, you would, through the Spirit, you would get that indwelling. But you would, no one would have to, for example, as a Christian, or everybody who is Christians have been taught. So I don't have to tell you, like in the Old Covenant, know the Lord. You know, they just keep the commandment. We know the law, and we are encouraged to keep studying, keep adding to our faith. And so that's important to know the difference between the covenant. Now, I want to turn our attention to this important, in Acts, they had a meeting of the minds, they would call it, Acts 15. All the big guns was there, right? Now, you remember they had a little problem. Some of the people was teaching, this was the Jews,
Where's this?
in Acts 15, was teaching that man like you, unless you be circumcised, the law of Moses, you're part of this kingdom, right? And this called for all the big guns to be there. You hear me? James, Peter, even Paul was there. So you know, and the elders from Jerusalem, right? And they met to decide on this. Let me read it in your hearing. Acts 15, 1 through 29. It's a little lengthy. And certain men which came down from Judea toward the brethren and said, except you be circumcised after the manner of Moses. Now, remember that's under the old covenant, right? You cannot be saved, right? So when therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissensions and disputation with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them should go up to Jerusalem unto the apostles and the elders about this question. So Paul and Barnabas gone up to Jerusalem about this question. And being brought on their way by the church, they passed through Phoenicia and Samaria, declaring the conversation of the Gentiles. And they caused great joy unto all the brethren. And when they were come to Jerusalem, they were received of the church and of the apostles and the elders, and they declared all things that God had done with them. But there rose up certain of the sect of the Pharisees, which believed, saying that it was needful to circumcise them and to command them to keep the law of Moses. You see that? Now remember now, the Christian age was already in force. Christ had already died. So they wanted to keep the law of Moses. Now watch what's happening here now. And the apostle and the elders came together for to consider of this matter. And when they had been much disputing, Peter rose up. I tell you, the big guns was here. And said unto them, men and brethren, ye know how that good while ago God made a choice among us, that the Gentiles by the mouth should hear the word of the gospel and believe. And God, which knoweth the hearts, bear them witness, giving them the Holy Ghost, even as he did us. So we know how that came about, right? Beginning of his house and all that stuff. And put no difference between us and them, purifying their hearts by faith. Now therefore, why tempt ye God to put a yoke upon the neck of the disciples, which neither the fathers nor we were able to bear? For we believe that through the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, we shall be saved, even as they. Then all of the multitude kept silent and gave audience to Barnabas. Now, these the big guns coming in now. And Paul, declaring what miracles and wonders God had wrought among the Gentiles by them. And after they had held their peace, then another big gun coming. James answered, saying, men and brethren, hearken unto me. Simon had declared how God had first did visit the Gentiles, the Simon Peter, to take out of them a people for his name. And to this agree the words of the prophets as written. After this I will return and I will rebuild again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down, and I will rebuild again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up. And now, verse 18, Known unto God are all these works from them from beginning to the world. Wherefore, my sense is, and we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to God. So James said, don't trouble them. But that we write unto them, that they lay down principle. This all they tell them to do. But that ye write unto them, that ye abstain from pollutions of idols. So that probably was a big thing there. Abstain from pollutions of idols, from fornication, from teen strangle, and from blood. They ain't mentioned nothing but the law of Moses and circumcision. So all the big guns came down because they had this problem. Same sex was telling the Gentiles, you got to be circumcised according to the law of Moses. So they came down to Jerusalem, the big guns, they heard them, and everybody spoke. And after they came together as apostles, they say, okay, this would be letting you all know. Don't worry about no circumcision. Just stop. Abstain from idols, from fornication, from food strangle, and from blood. Okay? So, and he said, they're not going to put no yoke on them that our fathers are not going to bear. So, when people come to you and talk to you now about this old law, we have to keep all these different things, like customs of Moses and all this other stuff. Man, the apostles didn't already rule on this. They ain't saying nothing but no Sabbath day this. They ain't telling them to keep no Sabbath days that. This was the apostles, the elders, and we ought to keep the apostles' doctrine. Now, basically, in closing, you all give me the first thing, and you all know this.
You have more than an hour.
No, I ain't talking about the time, but you know, I gotta put the thing on quick. So, my thing is that I want to say, when you judge, remember this now. This is important. Go to Romans. I can close 2 scriptures.
I learned a lot tonight.
When you get judged in the judgment, listen to this. Romans 2:12. When we get judged in the judgment, we get judged according to whatever dispensation we came under. In other words, if I came under the patriarchal dispensation, whatever laws that was given under that, I'm going to be judged under that. If I came under the Mosaic dispensation, I will be judged according to that time I left or that dispensation I live in. If I came under the Christian dispensation, what we are in now, with grace and truth, I will be judged under that. Look what Romans say. Romans 2:12. For there is no respect, let's go from verse 11. For there is no respect of persons with God. For as many as have sinned without the law, that's without the law. You sin without the law, it's before the law, right? Shall also perish. Sin without the law shall also perish without law. And as many as have sinned in the law, that's Mosaic, shall be judged by the law. So whatever dispensation you came under, that's how you're going to be judged. Revelation chapter 21.
Excuse me. You said when they keep you in during the time the person was born?
Yes. Like, okay, how we in the Christian dispensation? Okay, other words, when you be judged, you won't be judged from the ordinances on the Mosaic because you under the Christian dispensation. You see what I'm saying? Now those things in the Mosaic thing, we can look and we can read them. They were written following like Romans 15:4 say.
Right.
But we are not we're not compelled to obey them. It's not binding on us. That's why I say the 7th day, to keep the Sabbath day holy is not binding on us today because we're not in the Mosaic. And so that's why I put these 3 dispensations so you can know what dispensation you're in and which rule you to obey, which is binding for you. Now, Revelation 21 is the last scripture. Okay. Revelation 21. Trying to find it now. Okay, let's go to 20.